Imagine waking up each morning with a body that feels light, a mind that feels alert, and a spirit that feels resilient even after decades of life. There is a rhythm to our bodies that, when nurtured, can carry us gracefully well into our later years. The human body, astonishing in its complexity, continues to respond, adapt, and grow stronger long after 60. It is not merely about adding years to life, but life to years, a quiet miracle of biology that asks only for our mindful attention. The idea that the body remains adaptable after 60 challenges one of the most common myths about aging, that decline is fixed and unavoidable. In reality, the human body is not a static structure that simply wears down with time. It is a living, responsive system that continues to remodel itself based on how it is used. Even in later decades, muscles still grow stronger when they are challenged, bones still become denser when they bear weight, and the heart still improves its efficiency when it is gently trained. Biology does not place an expiration date on adaptation. It responds to signals, and those signals can be sent at any age. From a scientific perspective, aging slows certain processes, but it does not shut them down. Muscle cells, for example, retain the ability to synthesize new proteins well into old age. When seniors engage in regular movement or resistance exercises, they activate these pathways, reminding the body that strength is still required. The same is true for bones, which continuously renew themselves through a balance of breakdown and rebuilding. Weight-bearing activities tilt this balance towards strength, reducing the risk of fractures and frailty. These changes may occur more gradually than in youth, but gradual does not mean impossible. The brain follows a similar principle. Neural connections remain plastic, capable of forming new pathways when stimulated by movement, learning, and coordination. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients that support memory, attention, and emotional stability. This is why seniors who stay active often report not just stronger bodies, but clearer minds and steadier moods. The body and brain age together, responding as a unified system rather than isolated parts. Adaptability after 60 is also deeply tied to metabolism and energy regulation. With consistent activity and mindful habits, cells become better at using fuel, managing blood sugar, and reducing chronic inflammation. These changes influence how seniors feel day-to-day: less stiffness in the morning, more endurance throughout the day, and quicker recovery from minor stresses. What feels like getting older is often the result of reduced stimulation, not an inherent failure of the body. Perhaps most importantly, this adaptability carries psychological meaning. When older adults experience improvement, stronger legs, better balance, deeper breathing, it reshapes their relationship with aging itself. The body becomes a partner rather than an enemy, capable of responding positively to care and attention. This shift fosters confidence, motivation, and a renewed sense of agency, which further reinforces healthy behaviors. Aging then becomes a dynamic process, shaped by choices and habits rather than predetermined decline. Seen this way, strength after 60 is not an exception reserved for a lucky few, but a biological possibility rooted in how life itself is designed to persist, respond, and adapt, as long as it is given reason to do so. Daily movement is often misunderstood as something that must be intense, exhausting, or athletic to be meaningful. Yet the body interprets movement in a far more subtle and intelligent way. Every time the body moves, it sends signals to cells about what functions are still needed for survival. Walking, stretching, gentle lifting, or even standing up and sitting down repeatedly throughout the day all act as biological messages that say the body is still required to support, balance, and move through the world. These messages guide how muscles, joints, blood vessels, and even organs allocate their resources. From a cellular perspective, movement stimulates circulation, allowing oxygen and nutrients to reach tissues that would otherwise become stagnant. Muscles contract and relax, helping pump blood back to the heart and preventing the slow decline that comes from prolonged inactivity. This is especially important in older adults, where reduced circulation can lead to stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Simple, consistent motion keeps these systems awake and responsive, maintaining the internal flow that supports life. Joints also depend on movement for their health. Unlike many tissues, cartilage does not have a direct blood supply. It relies on the compression and release created by movement to absorb nutrients and remove waste. Gentle, daily motion acts like nourishment for the joints, keeping them flexible and resilient. Without this regular signal, joints stiffen, range of motion decreases, and discomfort becomes more common. Not because the joints are worn out, but because they are underused. Muscle tissue interprets movement as a demand for strength. Even light resistance, when applied consistently, helps preserve muscle fibers that are essential for posture, balance, and daily tasks. These fibers play a critical role in protecting joints and preventing falls. The body does not require extreme effort to maintain them. It requires regular reminders. Daily movement provides those reminders, reinforcing the structures that allow independence and confidence. Movement also communicates with the nervous system. Coordinated actions such as walking, reaching, or balancing activate neural pathways that keep communication between the brain and body sharp. This ongoing dialogue supports reaction time, coordination, and spatial awareness, which are often assumed to fade with age, but can be sustained through regular use. The brain responds by strengthening connections that remain active, reflecting its continued capacity for adaptation. Perhaps most powerful is how daily movement influences the internal environment of the body. It helps regulate blood sugar, reduce low-grade inflammation, and improve how cells manage energy. These effects accumulate quietly, shaping how a person feels over weeks and months rather than moments. Movement becomes less about exercise and more about signaling vitality, reminding the body each day that it is still engaged in life, still required to function, still capable of responding and renewing itself. Strength in later life is often misunderstood as something optional, something related to appearance or athletic ability, when in truth it is one of the most important foundations of independence. The ability to stand up from a chair, carry groceries, climb stairs, or steady oneself after a sudden movement all depend on muscular strength and coordination. These everyday actions are quiet markers of autonomy, and when strength fades, dependence slowly takes its place. This is not a sudden event, but a gradual shift that unfolds when the body is no longer asked to support itself. From a biological standpoint, muscle acts as more than a tool for movement. It is a protective system. Strong muscles absorb shock, stabilize joints, and help maintain balance. As muscle mass declines, joints bear more stress. Reactions become slower, and the risk of falls increases. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury in older adults, not because aging makes the body fragile by default, but because weakened muscles can no longer respond quickly enough to correct imbalance. Strength training, even at modest levels, trains the body to react, stabilize, and recover. Balance itself is closely tied to strength. The small muscles around the hips, legs, and core work continuously to keep the body upright. When these muscles are active and conditioned, they make thousands of tiny adjustments without conscious effort. When they weaken, stability becomes uncertain, and fear of falling often follows. That fear can lead to reduced movement, which further accelerates weakness, creating a cycle that erodes independence over time. Maintaining strength interrupts this cycle at its source. Strength also plays a crucial role in metabolic health. Muscle tissue helps regulate blood sugar by absorbing glucose from the bloodstream. As muscle mass declines, blood sugar control becomes more difficult, increasing the risk of metabolic disorders that can limit mobility and energy. By preserving muscle, older adults support not only movement, but also internal systems that sustain endurance and resilience throughout the day. Beyond the physical effects, strength carries psychological significance. When individuals feel capable in their bodies, they move through the world with greater confidence. They are more likely to engage socially, remain active, and trust their own abilities. This confidence reinforces movement, which in turn preserves strength, forming a self-sustaining loop that supports independence. Strength becomes a form of security, a quiet assurance that the body can meet the demands of daily life. In this way, strength is not about pushing limits, but about preserving freedom. Each maintained muscle fiber represents a task that can still be done without assistance, a choice that remains available, a life that continues to be lived on one's own terms. Health in later life is shaped far less by dramatic actions than by the quiet patterns repeated day after day. The body is built to respond to consistency, not intensity, because biological systems adapt slowly through repeated signals rather than sudden extremes. Small habits, practiced daily, create a steady conversation with the body that guides how cells repair themselves, how energy is distributed, and how resilience is maintained over time. What may feel insignificant in a single moment becomes powerful when repeated across weeks, months, and years. From a scientific perspective, the body learns through exposure. When movement, balanced nutrition, hydration, and rest are provided regularly, the body adjusts its internal processes to support these conditions. Muscles respond to repeated use by strengthening their fibers. Joints respond to regular motion by maintaining flexibility. The cardiovascular system adapts to gentle, consistent activity by improving circulation and efficiency. These changes occur incrementally, often unnoticed, yet they accumulate into meaningful improvements in function and comfort. Consistency also protects the body from stress. Sudden bursts of extreme effort can strain tissues, especially in older adults, increasing the risk of injury and discouragement. In contrast, small daily habits work within the body's natural capacity to adapt. They allow time for recovery, repair, and integration, aligning with how biological systems evolve to function. This approach respects the pace of the aging body rather than fighting against it. The nervous system responds particularly well to repetition. Daily routines help reinforce neural pathways involved in movement, coordination, and balance. When actions are repeated regularly, the brain becomes more efficient at controlling them, reducing effort and improving stability. This is why simple habits like daily walking or gentle stretching can lead to noticeable improvements in confidence and ease of movement over time. Metabolic health is also shaped by small, regular behaviors. Eating at consistent times, choosing whole foods, staying lightly active throughout the day, and prioritizing sleep all influence how the body manages blood sugar, inflammation, and energy production. These systems do not respond dramatically to occasional perfection, but they do respond reliably to steady care. The body rewards regularity with balance. Perhaps most importantly, small habits are sustainable. They fit into daily life without overwhelming it, making them easier to maintain over the long term. This sustainability builds trust between the individual and their body. Progress feels attainable rather than exhausting, encouraging continued engagement rather than withdrawal. Over time, these modest actions redefine aging itself, not as a process of inevitable loss, but as a landscape shaped by daily choices that gently but persistently guide the body toward strength, stability, and vitality. Health after 60 becomes most meaningful when it is approached as a relationship rather than a battle. The body is not something to be forced into compliance, but something to be listened to, understood, and guided with care. Every sensation, fatigue, stiffness, energy, ease as a form of communication. When these signals are acknowledged rather than ignored, the body responds with greater stability and resilience. This dialogue grows more important with age, as the margin between stress and recovery becomes narrower. From a biological perspective, the body constantly seeks balance. It adjusts hormone levels, repairs tissues, and manages energy in response to how it is treated. When movement, rest, and nourishment are offered with consistency and respect, these systems align more smoothly. Pushing beyond limits or ignoring warning signs creates stress responses that can disrupt this balance. Working with the body, rather than against it, allows adaptation to occur without unnecessary strain. Listening to the body does not mean avoiding challenge. It means choosing challenges wisely. Gentle resistance strengthens muscles, but excessive strain can damage them. Activity stimulates circulation, but adequate rest allows repair. This balance reflects how the body evolved to survive, not through constant intensity, but through cycles of effort and recovery. Seniors who honor these rhythms often experience steadier progress and fewer setbacks. Curiosity plays a key role in this partnership. Observing how different foods affect energy, how movement influences mood, or how sleep impacts clarity encourages mindful decision-making. This curiosity replaces rigid rules with personal understanding. The body becomes a source of information rather than frustration, guiding choices that support long-term well-being. Compassion is equally essential. Aging brings changes that require patience. Progress may be slower, recovery may take longer, and comparisons to earlier years can undermine motivation. Treating the body with kindness creates a mental environment that supports healing and consistency. Stress and self-criticism activate biological pathways that interfere with recovery, while calm attention supports repair and balance. When seniors develop a respectful partnership with their bodies, confidence grows naturally. They learn what strengthens them and what depletes them. This awareness fosters trust, allowing movement and engagement without fear. Health then becomes an ongoing conversation, shaped by daily care and attention, where the body responds not as a failing system, but as a living process capable of resilience, adaptation, and continued vitality.